Yeah, everyone. 저희 Raquel Black이니시. 예, 아니 무슨 sentikine basis chin ashine dasuche ado torigini dasinale. I am a member of the Navajo Nation from Chanto, Arizona, and I am the co-working manager here at Change Labs. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. And first off, I'd like to give a brief introduction to Change Labs, and for those who aren't already familiar with our organization. So let me screen share. So Change Labs is a native-led and native-controlled nonprofit organization based on the Navajo Nation. Our commitment lies in supporting Native entrepreneurs by providing creative workspaces, relevant tools, relevant resources, and knowledge to help them thrive. Based in Tuba City, Change Labs aims to boost the entrepreneurial landscape on the Navajo Nation. We're not just about programs, we're about reshaping how Native communities view entrepreneurship. We like to shine a spotlight on community role models, creating a supportive network of peers and mentors, enhancing leadership skills, and nurturing and growing a community of entrepreneurs, which we think of it more as a mission, and it's a movement towards positive change. And here we have our mighty team that helps make Change Labs the great organization that it is today. Together, we foster the creation and growth of Native-owned small businesses. And next, I'd like to talk about another one of our programs, the Kinship Lending Program. Kinship Lending is a microloan program, and we lend up to $5,000. Our Change Lab alumni are actually eligible for $10,000, and our director, Kristine Laughter, and our colleague, who walks to be little, offer financial education program and business coaching as part of the program. This past fall 2023, our Kinship cohort that just got started in the later part of the year, we actually had an exciting 19 business owners part of the cohort program, and they'll be receiving over $156,000 in loans to strengthen their businesses. 14 of the current borrowers are actually Change Lab alumni from either Kinship program or incubator, which is really, really exciting. Our application for the next cohort will be open again sometime in the first quarter of this year. So if you're interested in the Kinship Lending Program, I can connect you with Kristine Laughter for more information. And then you can also visit our website, nativestartup.org/kinshiplending. And next is co-working. So earlier this last summer, we completed construction on our brand new building, conveniently located right next to the Tuba City Chapter House on Main Street. Just north of the Tonines is the Chapter House. This space offers a range of valuable services to benefit your business. Among these services, you can expect desk space, high-speed Wi-Fi, color printing, in-person coaching sessions, a whole variety of workshops, and then we're planning to bring networking events here as well, and then a lot more. Our commitment to supporting local entrepreneurs and business owners at our new eShip hub means that our list of co-working services is always evolving, and we're eager to hear your ideas and how we can better serve our entrepreneurs. So if you have any suggestions, please let us know. We're eager to hear them, and we're thrilled to introduce this space to everyone in our community, and it's designed to facilitate the growth and development of your business ventures. And then talking about business coaching, we offer free virtual appointments with any of our business coaches. Our coaches are available on Tuesdays now from 11 to 5. Each of them have their own area of expertise depending on the kind of support you're looking for. Our coaches are able to assist you from areas from marketing to accounting and bookkeeping systems, or if you're just starting out, they can assist you with creating a business model and navigating the Navajo Nation system for things such as their business site lease and then registering with the Navajo Nation Business Regulatory. You can find more information or book your appointment with any one of the coaches at the link here, nativestartup.org/event. And then we also have our YouTube channel. We currently have over 100 recorded sessions and discussions, all designed for Native entrepreneurs and business owners and led by other Native entrepreneurs and creatives, also others in our network as well. Our workshops have covered topics like social media marketing, website design, doing business on Navajo Nation, and a ton more. It's a growing archive of shared knowledge and other natives who really want to see our Native people and their businesses thrive. So to access any of these past sessions, you can visit the link there, youtube.com/changelabs. And another really great resource that we have to offer are all of our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I highly recommend you check those out and follow those pages for regular postings and updates. Change Labs likes to share and post on many of our partners as well and others in our network for really great opportunities and resources that we think would be useful to our Native creative business owners and entrepreneurs alike. And then lastly, Change Labs has been curating our own list of Native entrepreneurs and small business owners. So if you're in the market for finding other Native service providers or Native made products, we currently have over 600 Native owned business owners listed in there for you to browse. And if you're a native business yourself, feel free to add yourself. It's a really simple process and it's totally free for you. You can visit the site here at resrising.org. All right. And before I turn our time over to our guests for today, I'm going to touch base on our etiquette for today. To be respectful of our speakers' time, we'd like to ask everyone to stay on mute during the presentation unless you're called upon. Martin and Kristine, you can definitely let us know if you're open to being interrupted as well. And then if you want to stay on mute, feel free to populate the chat box with your questions today, and then we'll make sure to get to them before we end our session. And then another reminder is our session is being recorded today and will be at YouTube, available on Change Lab YouTube channel later this week. All right, and if you have any questions at all or any questions about Change Labs in general, feel free to reach out to me. My email is right here, Raquel@nativestartup.org, or you can definitely check out our website as well. And I'd like to welcome our guests for today. We have Change Labs' very own Kristine Laughter, who's been with us for many, many years. We're really happy to have her host today's session and conversation with Martin from Square. So Kristine, take it away.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're having a fireside chat with Martin, and Martin is somebody who has who we've done work with over the years. He does work with Square, and one of the reasons that I thought it would be great to chat with Martin was to kind of find out some of the benefits and the resources and why having Square is so beneficial to our small business owners. So first of all, Martin Guerrero is a member of the Global Policy Partnership and Community Impact Team at Block. Block is a global technology company with a focus on financial services made up of Square, Cash App, Spiral, Tidal, and TBD. They build tools to help people access the economy. And that is something that was really important to us here at Change Lab, specifically kinship lending, because we do work with a lot of entrepreneurs who come to us for the lending program. And we want to make sure that we provide tools and services, resources to help them so that they can continue to grow their companies and increase revenue. So I'd like to introduce you to Martin. Martin, go ahead and take it away. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do there.
Hey, thank you, Kristine. I appreciate that. I think we've got quite a bit of the state covered. You guys are pretty far north, and I'm pretty far south right now. I'm coming to you here from my home in Sackatoon, Arizona. We're here in the Gila River Indian Reservation, where my wife is a tribal member, and all her mother's side are tribal members as well. As you mentioned, I do work for Square. I do community affairs and policy partnerships with the focus on education. So training webinars like such as these or in-person workshops teaching folks on all things Square, right? Most people know Square as that, I think I probably have one here. Probably remember us or started knowing us from the little white, the little white card reader, right? Where you could easily plug into your phone and start swiping credit cards, which in 2009 was revolutionary, right? At that time the iPhone had been out for just a couple of years, and everyone's walking around with these computers in their pocket, and our founders decided, well, why can't we use that to help? One of our founders was a business owner and help small businesses be able to take credit cards, because before that, it was very difficult to get a credit card terminal, and just the fees and just all that you had to go through was very, very difficult. So made it very, very easy for a small business, or really now a business of any size, to be able to take a payment anywhere at any time. And so I partner with great organizations such as yourselves to help spread the word, and really just to level up entrepreneurs in whatever it is they're doing or in what they've chosen to do. So we're here as a resource. So happy to be here.
Great. Thank you. I was reading a little bit on the Square website, and how it talks about exactly what you said, making the credit card reader available to everyone. Every small business owner should have should take credit cards, debit cards. I really believe that we are moving into a cashless society. A lot of people that are out there who are either vacationing or just going to do some shopping, a lot of times they don't have cash in their pockets, right? They have their card, they have Apple Pay. They'll pay with their phone. So we have to let our small businesses know that this is the way that things are changing, and they've been changing for quite some time. You did mention the fees that merchant processing companies they charge, and I was really interested to hear about what Square has to offer. And there are some of the different types of, I guess, what do they call, devices that is available to small business owners. Could you just kind of talk a little bit about that, about how the basic type of device that you have, and then kind of work up from there what's available to the small business owners?
Yeah, that's a great way to start. Obviously, at the base of everything we do at Square, we started as being able to take that payment, right? We've grown to now, I believe it's over 35 products and services, but taking that payment and being able to make that sale is still a crucial part of any business, right? And as you mentioned, we have the different pieces of hardware to be able to take that. I mentioned, the little white reader. We've got our contactless and chip card readers. You mentioned Apple Pay. We do now have, the magstripe card reader is eventually going to go away. I know some credit card companies have already mentioned they're not going to be issuing new cards with the magstripe. That black stripe that's on the back of the card that you're used to swiping. That's going to go away, and it's just going to be, the chip and tap options, because they're a more secure option. And so you'll see that just more and more every day. We do have now tap to pay on your phone for both Android and iPhone. So where the days of where, having to find your little reader and plug it into your phone, if you lost it, you couldn't take it. Now you can accept payments where they can tap right on your phone itself, either a card or a phone, or people pay with their watches now. Whatever device they want to pay with, you're able to do that. And those are great for on the go, mobile, right? You're just, you're outside, farmers markets, festivals, things like that, right? Where it's very portable. You don't want to be lugging around a ton of equipment. And then we have, your more countertop devices. You've seen like the Square Stand, where you just plug in an iPad and you can have a fully functioning countertop point of sale for a cafe or a restaurant or a boutique, whatever that might be. So there, and then we have some other options as well, just depending on what kind of business you're in and what what's going to work best for you. But man, you can take a payment and there's so many ways. A gift card, right? You can send checkout links. You can text or email someone a link where they can just click on it, and enter in their payment information. You can send them an invoice, for obviously folks doing catering or services where maybe you need a deposit down, and then or payments, right? You have invoices. You have, of course, your website nowadays. That e-commerce is where everything has shifted, right? For a long time, e-commerce, year by year, would see it grow. Obviously, COVID didn't help it grow. It really just accelerated it, right, and forced people to really have to adopt to this, e-commerce world, this online world. And of course, social media. You guys mentioned doing social media training. That's a part of it as well. Your social media networks are now places where you can sell your goods, market yourself, sell your goods and services directly through there. So when you talk payments, there's a lot of ways you can take a payment, and because we want to make sure as a business you are never missing that sale, right? Long gone are those days of, oh, I don't have my card on me, or oh, you only take cash, or oh, let me go to your website, or there's just no reason for it anymore. We can help you make sure that sale goes through in every way possible.
Well, good. And one thing I heard from you, and I think that it's always at the back of my mind, is security. The
Mhm.
security that comes along with using the card, using a card reader, using Square to take a payment is something that is so important, because we see a lot of fraud happening out there, right? And so we want to make sure that when you're taking a payment from somebody, they do have a card that is an actual card that belongs to them, and then you're getting the money from that person, that money's going into your account. So that is such a big thing, and always important for everyone to know that, hey, this is a safe way to take payment. And then another thing is, when you're taking payment that way, it's going into an account. You're not having to worry about cash in your pocket. You're not you're not having to worry about somebody grabbing any of the money that you've made, and it's safely in an account that you have, which by the way, brings me to the banking part. You mentioned that Square has their own bank, and I was really intrigued by that. Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. And yeah, just to your point, like Square or security is baked into literally everything we do from the ground up. I mean, it has to be, or we just can't function, as a business. And we have to do that. And yeah, you mentioned, like I said, the mag strap going away just because it's a less secure. I mean, it's still secure, but it's less secure than a tap payment or a chip payment where you have to have that physical card there, right? Whereas the mag strap can sometimes be cloned, the chip and the tap, that's a whole different piece there. So we really want folks to transition to that. The banking piece, yeah, we have what's the name, Square Financial Services, which is our bank based out of Salt Lake City, where we offer business checking, savings, and we do loans as well, right? Whereas normally a more traditional financial institution would consider a loan to a small business, right? Those 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 ranges. Our loans here range, I believe last average was about 7,000 or just under $7,000, which for most financial institutions that's a micro loan, right? But for a small business, that's new equipment, that's new inventory, that could be payroll, right? To cover your staff, and we make it so easy to be able to just offer you a loan based off of your sales history, right? You're already using Square, so we already have the data showing that you take payments every day or from multiple different cards, and it doesn't make sense to say, oh well, you make several $100,000 a year, but looks like it's only one customer, or you only take one card the whole year. If you lose that customer, right, you're basically out of business. So, just having that mix of being able to take all these different cards, all these different customers, whether that's in person or with your Square website, right? We can see all of that. And then, the algorithm will then let you know, hey, it looks like we feel that you'd be able to take on a loan in an amount of this much. Now, if we offer you, let's say $10,000, you can look at that and see what the fee would be and be like, okay, well, that's great. I really only need five right now, right? Cool. You can do the slider down to five or three or two, whatever it is you need at the time to be able to help your business along. And then that's just paid every day via your transaction. So on days that you're busier, right, more comes out. The days that you're slower, less comes out. But you just don't see it. That's just coming out automatically. So it makes it really, really easy to take on that loan. Obviously, our role here is to help you grow as a business. So we don't, we're not going to come out the gate like, seeing maybe a smaller, newer business and be like, hey, you can have $250,000, right? Like, no, we don't want to put you in debt and cause you to, to have to go out of business because now you're owing that much money, right? Our role here is to help you grow and get better and bigger. And those loans, we see people that they'll get a loan, they'll pay it off, they'll get another one, they'll get a bigger one next time. Maybe it's a new food truck or a deposit on a new lease for a brick and mortar going from just pop-ups. So I mean, it's been probably one of my favorite, and it's weird to call it a product, but it's one of my more favorite offerings, just because I see how much it can affect the business, right? Injecting that capital into their business and being able to do the things they want to do.
Very good. Now, banking, what are some of the requirements for a small business owner to set up Square, and then also the bank account? I'm just curious because I know it, that can be even an obstacle for some small business owners.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Square app, you can download it on your phone and do that, or you can log into your account. Right, you're never going into a branch or anything like that. It's all done online, right from your laptop or wherever you might want to log in from, and it's easy. I mean, it's a really easy process to get that set up. I mean, you already have entered most of your information in there. We've already verified you're a real person, right? To be able to offer you the ability to take payments. So I mean, it's just something that essentially just turning it on and being able to set that up, right? And that makes it so when you get your sales, that money can instantly go right into those accounts versus waiting a day or 2 days for those transactions to settle. And we'll deposit those in the same day. That way your money is available to you right away. And that, that can come with a business debit card that you're using. So as you're making money throughout the day, you can then spend that money on whatever you might need it to be for the next day or for the next event, right? That money's readily more available to you, because everything is all integrated. We can see, or we see just all the pieces of your business, right? And we can see, hey, this is a healthy business, a business that we see transacting all the time. That's offering all these, whether it's different products and services, classes, products, things like that, right? We factor all of that in there versus just, oh, it's a business and they need money, right? I mean, who doesn't need money? But we want it to be sure it's being used in a great way for you to expand your business.
That's great. And I'm just looking at the list of products that Square does offer. The point of sale system. I believe point of sale that's like a basic product that businesses need to function, right? So tell me a little bit about that and how that works.
Absolutely, right there. And that was our first product, was being able to have that point of sale where you're able to take those payments. And then, the point of sale has really transitioned from just being, a cash register, right? I mean, a cash register was a point of sale, right? But it wasn't connected to the internet, or it wasn't, doing anything else. It was just making those transactions. And that's where it gets the name point of sale, right? I walk up to the counter, that's the point at where I'm making, my sale. Now your point of sale is on the road, on your website, on your social media. But in a lot of the trainings I do, it's really helping folks get that point of sale set up to where it gives them, where it's not just making those transactions, but giving them the data really behind those transactions versus just knowing, oh, I sold, I did $5,000 in sales this weekend, at the festival, right? Great, that's good to know. Like that's a key piece of it. But knowing, what product is did you sell the most? What times did you sell the most? If you have employees, like who is selling the most and who is selling the least, right? That type of information. Your inventory levels, right? Your point of sale is so much more than just the transaction. It's all the data that's behind that. Like how many of widget A did I sell? And man, widget B is just not selling. I probably don't need to buy any more of that, right? Because it's just not selling. I don't need to waste my money on that. This is really selling. I need to focus on, maybe getting a better deal on this product that I'm selling, because I'm selling a lot of it and I want to make more profit off of that. And now this other product that's not selling, maybe I need to offer it, put it on clearance, offer a sale to kind of get things moving, right? And with that data, you're able to see that. Right? I mean, we make it so easy to be able to take a payment, right? You can download the app, take a payment. You can just put in a cash amount. Okay, cool. That order is $100 today. Great. You want to pay with card? Done. The receipt goes out, and you have an order for $100, right? But you didn't create an item to say this was an extra large jean jacket with special embroidery on the back. Like that's the actual product that you're selling, and the receipt didn't reflect that either, right? But and that's great, you made the sale, but we really want you to start setting that up to where it's, oh, I have these items, these products, I have this many in inventory, right? Really that pre-setup to get you set up and start knowing throughout the year, because that data is just going to keep rolling, right? As you sell more and more and longer, you have that broader database to see, man, Valentine's Day, right? I think that's the next holiday, right? You can see, if you've been in business for a couple of years now and you've been setting it up right, you can see, oh, last, Valentine's, I really started getting sales. Maybe that last week, or that's, second last week of January is when my sales really started. I need to be ready by that time, right? I need to have my social media calendar ready to go to start letting folks know we're open. We're taking orders for our custom Valentine's Day basket, or whatever that might be, right? That data is going to really help you, guide you, and make those business decisions.
That's great. And that sales forecasting or even service forecasting is so important, and that point of sale system can help entrepreneurs to plan ahead. So start now. So make 2024 the year that you get a Square system and you're able to use all of this data for 2025. So that way, how many employees do you need to bring to this specific event? How many employees do you need to bring on for this holiday event? So it's a really great way to use this tool to help you run your business. Sometimes I think people, when they think Square, all they're thinking is, I'm just going to get this device, I'm going to accept credit cards, and that's it. But there's so much more that happens behind the scenes with Square. And that's what I really want entrepreneurs to know is like, there are so many tools that you offer, like the invoicing. I see that you guys offer the invoicing service. So it helps also with that operation of the business. So somebody comes and they are going to buy something from you, you can send them an invoice. If I'm thinking that the invoicing would be for the sales that you're doing to for your customers, or is that invoicing for your supplier?
For your customers. So let's say you're a caterer, right? And someone wants to hire you for an event, and you say, great, like we've agreed upon this price on this date. Great, I need 25% down to to hold this and get this going. Let me send you an invoice. It's electronic, so they can just pay it online or on their phone, however they choose. Right? They can pay that initial 25% deposit down, and then it'll give them a date to pay the remainder, right? So it's like, cool, great. I need that 25% down to get obviously the things I need to put on the event, and obviously for you to not just not pay me when the time comes, right? I already have I can charge that card on the day of service, or you can break it up however you want. But yeah, it'd be for your customers.
And then that's another great thing is you start to build your customer base with Square, so you can track all of your customers that you're doing business with. I mean, what a great way to be able to have that database and say, hey, in 3 months, we're going to have this big event at location XYZ. Come on out. You joined us last year for this event. So it's a good way to contact customers and also do some marketing, right? Because there are, again, just so many different ways that you can utilize Square to help improve and increase your business sales.
Yeah, that's already included in Square. So right, anytime you open an account, like or what we call our customer directory, that's automatic, right? As you're taking payments and you're taking orders, those folks are being added to your customer directory. So you have a list of who's there, and you can start to see, oh, Delfina, she is my number one customer, right? She's always coming on the weekend when we're out, selling food at the market. Like she comes she's there. Like maybe we want to offer her a discount. Maybe we want to shout her out on our Instagram, right, as our number one customer or our favorite customer. Or that information starts to come in. We talked about the kind of the setup. I use the example of, well, okay, let's say you're selling clothing, right, and your customer, you have a sale on shirts or pants, whatever that might be. People are buying now. Maybe let's use the shirt as the example. Okay, someone bought this specific shirt. Now you've gone and gotten the matching pants or a jacket that would go great with it. Now you can go into your customer directory and actually market to those specific people, right? To be like, okay, anyone who purchased jacket A, I want to market to them and send them a newsletter saying, hey, for those of you that are enjoying the shirt that you got, we've got a great jacket that would fit right along with that, or a matching pant set that would go with that, or you bought these pants, we've got a great boot set that would go with it, right? To get really, really granular there versus just that kind of casting that white net of just marketing to everybody, and then wondering, well, why didn't this work? I sent it to everybody. It's like, well, it was pretty specific, right? It was specific to the people that had this, and now that's going to that. So you can really start to get in there, or just depending on how you set it up. And you want to collect birthdays, right? When on your contact forms or on your website, if you want to collect birthdays, then you can start sending out, hey, here's a 10% off coupon for your birthday. Thanks for being a customer. Right? That kind of marketing is so much more important now than just that. Again, just send it to everybody, and it really doesn't, kind of falls flat, because it's like, okay, I just get, yeah, you're marketing to me, but if I get a text message from a business that I've done business with, and they're like, hey, thanks for being a customer, here's this for your birthday, it's like, oh, that's awesome, right? That's personal to me, and it's making me more likely to be able to go back. Oh yeah, I haven't been there in a while. Let me go and use this coupon, because I can take advantage of that. So really, really important to know who your customers are. Again, what they're buying, what they're not buying. Even more important, all that data is all there for you.
And so another thing that I see that you offer is payroll. So in working with entrepreneurs and small business owners, a lot of them are doing, running the business solo. How much help will somebody need to, if they're just starting out, will they need to run all of these? And setting out all of this up, is this something that they would set up initially in their point of sale system? And then it's kind of like automatic, or would I have to bring on a new employee to help me with this part?
So yeah, payroll has been, we've seen that being skyrocketing in use, because great news, right? These businesses are expanding. They're having to hire their first employee or hire more employees because they're getting busier. Payroll is going to be a little more specific in where, almost everything within Square you can set up and just start using on your own. It'll kind of walk you through that. Payroll is one where when you sign up, it's like, okay, we're going to set you up with a representative to walk you through getting this set up. Whether it's your first time getting this set up, or maybe you're transitioning from another provider, right? There's some really important things you need to be able to do to make sure everything's correct, right? We have a payroll team, representatives that would walk you through that initial setup to make sure you're set up for success. It's one of those things that most people don't know about, right? So it's not easy to just set up, because you just don't know what you don't know, right? The different tax regulations, rules, and all of that. So that's one of those products where when you go to add it on, we'll set you up with a representative to get you set up on that.
That's great. That's great to have a system to be able to help with that part of it, because I know that's one thing that as an entrepreneur, they want to be able to get the help that they need around payroll, because you want to make sure that you're collecting the right amount of payroll taxes and make sure that that does get paid out to the IRS, or to who it needs to be paid out to as well. And I also see that you have something around team management. So tell me a little bit about team management with Square.
Yeah, those kind of go hand in hand. You can use team management without using our payroll product. What the team management is going to allow you to do is allow your employees to clock in and out right from the point of sale, right? So if, let's say you're using the stand, they can log in with their code, clock in and out, and from their breaks and all of that on there. It also would include, like, again, team management, things like scheduling breaks, or giving team specific permissions, right? Maybe you're the owner, but you have someone managing a store for you. You're going to give them manager permissions, or refunds, voids, maybe creating discounts, things like that. Whereas maybe you also have someone that's just not a manager, but an employee, maybe a cashier, or a chef, or a bartender, whatever that might be. They're going to have specific permissions on the point of sale, right? Because you don't want them to be able to just give everyone free free goods and services all day all day long, without doing that. So it's just really giving those teams those different permissions, those different levels, being able to see who's clocked in, who's clocked out, and again, it's showing you like your staff, where are your staff, comparing that to your busy times. Okay, we have staff at this time, these are our busy hours. We don't have enough staff. Maybe we need to move Haley up in her schedule up a little bit to be able to cover that. Sorry, my wife's cat is crying over here because she went to work. But yeah, so it gives you all of those different features again, as someone who's has a business with employees. You're looking at that team management to be able to manage that without just being there and having to be there all the time.
Great. So glad to hear that. And next thing I see on this list is buy now, pay later. What is that, and how does that work?
Yeah, you've done your research. So buy now, pay later, and we do that through a company called Afterpay. If you're familiar with the company called Afterpay, Square acquired Afterpay, I think almost 2 years now. And so when we talk about buy now, pay later, I'm old enough to remember the days of layaway at like Kmart or Sears, or anything like that, right? So the way that would work is, I'd go with my mom and my dad to Kmart in the summer, to get all my the school clothes I was going to wear for the next coming school year. Right? I pick them all out, put them all together. We take it to the layaway counter. She would put a payment down, and then she would make payments, and hopefully, mom would pay it off before before school started, so I could show up with fresh new clothes. Buy now, pay later is essentially the opposite of that, right? I can go into a store, pick out what I'm going to purchase. I'm going to take it to the counter. I'm going to make a payment right then and there, and I'm going to take those items with me, and those payments going to come out automatically. So it works for a consumer. It's great. It's no interest for as a consumer. But actually, I just want I went and bought a new jacket for my son, a North Face jacket. It's like, it's like $200, right? It's a heavy duty jacket. So instead of paying the $200 right then and there, I used Afterpay, and I paid, it breaks it up into 4 payments. So the day of, we went Saturday, right? Saturday, paid with Afterpay. They see the sale go through as $200, but in actuality, only $50 was charged to me, and in 2 weeks, another 50. And then 2 weeks after that, another 50, and then 2 weeks after that, another 50, until it's all paid off. But I have the jacket, I'm warm, I'm good, and just making those payments on it like that. So that's the way buy now, pay later works. Great for the consumer. Again, it's in 4 interest-free payments, right? They can do that. For the business, right, that might work better for some of those larger items, right? Because if I wasn't approved for $200, I wouldn't be able to do that, right? I have to be on the Afterpay side. I have to be approved for a certain amount. When you get started, it's usually a lower amount, and as you use it, right, and make your payments, you'll see your amounts go up. But for the business, we see it a lot for folks, applying it to like larger ticket items. So someone doesn't necessarily say, "Oh, well, I can't afford that today, but I could sure break that up into payments." Or, "Oh, cool, we offer Afterpay if you want to do that. Great, I can walk out with my new bicycle or my new TV or whatever that might be, and make it into those payments, and to make it that easier for them." Now, as a business, right, you can choose to offer that. It's already all integrated into Square, so it's there for you. You can offer it in person, or you can offer it on your Square website. Many other websites as well. We have a lot of partners, but you can choose to offer that. Right, that's entirely up to you as the business to do that, because there is a higher rate for that. And the reason for that is when someone gets approved for Afterpay, and they make that payment, right? They're not making payments to you, right? So Kristine, if I come into your store and I use Afterpay, I'm not making those payments every 2 weeks to you. I'm making them to Square and Afterpay. You've already gotten the $200 sale, right?
Mhm.
You're gotten that money up front minus the fees. If I don't make those payments or something happens, you never know about it, right? The sale was essentially a cash deal for you because it's done, right? So we assume the risk and the responsibility that Afterpay customer is going to make those payments. So it is a little higher fee for that, because again we're assuming all the risk there.
That's good. That was going to be my question, was, do I get the $200 right then and there, or do I have to wait till all the payments get made? So I get the $200 as soon as that person sets that up. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So I'm curious around, if a business decides to take Square, there are the different types, or the different devices. How does one decide which device to use? I know that you sent a box of Square devices to ChangeLabs, which, by the way, people who are on the call will get to hear about the devices that are available at the ChangeLabs eShip Hub in Tuba City. So we have that device. And then what else do you have, or what else do business owners have? And where would you recommend that one business go with a basic device versus another one? I mean, we can talk about that. And then we can also talk about the different businesses that can use Square. So maybe it just is dependent on the business type, right?
It really, yeah, it's going to depend on the business type and what type of business. If you're a brick and mortar store, right, the hardware you're going to use is going to be different than what we would use if you're a mobile company, right? So let me do this here. Am I able to share? So are you seeing that now?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, so you have the Square reader for contactless and ship, right? That's going to be, I have the blur on. So that's going to be like this size, right? Portable, small. You can do chip cards, and you can do tap payments. And the tap payment is going to be cards, phones, watches, whatever device they want to tap with, right? Bluetooth connects to phones, tablets, laptops, right? Whatever device you want to use. Great for on the go. easy. It can work with even with invoices. So like that invoice example, right? They pay that deposit up front. They pay that online, and then the day of, if I'm going to collect, I can just use this. And they can use their card in person. That's what we say. Oh, very easy. You see it at a lot of the markets and things like that. Just because again, it's portable, it's Bluetooth, so you don't have a cable, or you don't have to worry about whether it's an iPhone plug-in or the Android plug-in, right? It's Bluetooth, so it can connect to any of them. Really, probably our most popular one. You have the Square Terminal, which is the second one there. I don't have one here, but it's a little bit bigger than about the size of a phone, but a little more square, right? And again, same thing, tap, chip. It actually has the swipe on the side there, and it has a built-in printer. Seeing that more and more on it's Wi-Fi enabled, so that again, that's on the go, right? That could be used at pop-ups, events, things like that. That's becoming a really popular table side device now, right? Where let's say you have a cafe and you're ringing someone up, you can just put it right on the table or hand it to them. They can charge it, add their tip or whatever there, and decide if they want an email receipt, a text receipt, or a printed one, right? Versus taking the card in the back, being gone with it for a while, wondering where did my card go? Like you can just do it right then and there, and your card never leaves your site. And then you have the Square Stand and the Square Register. These are going to be countertop devices. So this is where you have an actual location, a store, whether that's a restaurant or food and beverage or a barber shop or whatever that might be, right? Somewhere that you have that's going to be better suited, for that. The stand, that's the whole setup. You just plug in an iPad into it. The register already has the tablet already built into it, so you don't have anything extra. It's already all there, right? So that's going to be the difference between the two. And then we have tap to pay as well. Let's see if I have something here for tap to pay. So yeah, I mentioned tap to pay, right? So you can just do tap to pay right on your phone, either iPhone or Android, where they can you can put in the amount. Again, this is what you don't want to do, right? You don't want to just put in an amount and charge it. You want to use an actual item. But you can do tap to pay, and they just tap right on your phone. On the iPhone, it's on the top. On the Android, it's on the back. No device needed. You're processing your payments right then and there. That's good that can be good for anybody. Again, that's really what's replacing the little white card reader of the original days, because this is going to be a more secure option for you. So just really depends on the business type. Again, if you're mobile, the contactless chip card reader is fantastic. In collaboration with, you can have both, right? You can have the card reader and tap to pay both enabled at the same time. So you're never not without being able to take that payment.
Wow, that's amazing that you can accept the payments right on your phone. How convenient. And what do you have to have Wi-Fi, or can you use data on your phone to use this particular service?
Yeah, it would be data or Wi-Fi, either one. You do have to have an internet connection, so whether that's through Wi-Fi or just through your own cellular data, it wouldn't matter.
Okay, well that's great. Now, at one time, years and years ago, I was helping my mom with her business, and what I had to do was we actually had to go offline because of where she was located, where she was selling. We didn't have internet. Now, is that an option, or is that something that somebody could do, just take payments offline and then get to a place where they do have service?
Yes, so I get that, right? In rural areas, that's a challenge. So we do have offline payment mode. So within the Square devices, you can actually put your device into offline mode, which will you have to actually do the chip. So you have to actually do that, because it'll read that information and it'll store it in there, and the payment will go through. Like your customer will get a receipt. Well, if they don't have service either, right, the receipt it'll be sent, but they won't get it until they have service. But the payment will go through, like everything is good there. You do have to connect to Wi-Fi or cellular data within, I believe it's 48 hours, to get those payments processed, or you could possibly lose out on that sale. Now, again, that's up to the business to be able to figure out, okay, I want to do that. Right now, you're not going to tell your customer, hey, I don't have any service. I can't, I don't know if this payment's going to go through or not, but go ahead and do it. You just act like it's like everything's fine, right? Cool. The sale's done, this and that, right? And then you'll see, those are processed as soon as you connect. Again, that's up to you as a business to decide whether you want to do that. There is no extra fees for that. There's just that risk of, well, someone gave me a card that didn't have funds, right? There is that possibility. We've tested this pretty thoroughly. We used to power Coachella, the music festival, right? And I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere. Tens of thousands of people out there, right? Cellular service, internet service is horrible out there, and offline mode on the Square terminals is what we used to run there for several years, and being very hot and dusty, like we would run those, and then they would go back. I think in the evening they would go back into town, reconnect them to process those sales every night to make sure that those go through. Rarely ever had it. I mean, there was the occasional, like, someone bought a beer, $10, didn't have funds, right? But you can see all that information. But again, because you're not telling someone, oh, I have no idea if your card is good or not. Like, you just assume that most people are going to give you that card knowing they have funds. So it is an option for those that where you're in an area that maybe your internet is not that great, or your cellular data is not great. You can switch into offline mode and still be able to make those payments.
That's great. That's good to know, because I know a lot of small businesses that we work with. I mean, they're mobile business and they're out, and they may be somewhere where they don't have service. And so that's good to know. Now, the next question I have is, why Square? Why should somebody come and use Square versus going to the bank down the street?
I'm not a sales rep for Square, so I'm not here to sell Square. Obviously, I love working here and I love everything that we do for businesses. Probably our biggest advantage is going to be just the integration with everything, right? That we offer. So obviously, the payments is going to be number one. Your customer directory, your data, your inventory. But now, you can set up email marketing with us, and all that data will be there as well. Email, text message marketing. You can do both. You can do a website with us. Again, those sales will all integrate as well. Your team management. We talked about payroll. We have electronic gift cards as well that you can integrate onto your website, onto your in your store. We have a loyalty program as well, right, where you can offer folks free coffee after the buy 10 get one free, or whatever loyalty program you want. Right? Every one of those pieces is all integrated. So it's not like, well, I need to go here to see how my email marketing is doing. I have to go over here to check on my website and do that there, and make sure my inventory is matching up to my in-store inventory, right? With Square, with your point of sale, your in-person sales and your online sales, right? The inventory is always syncing. So if someone buys the last bicycle that you're selling online, right, when you go to sell it in person, it's going to say that's out of stock. Right. Same thing on the website. If you sell the last one in person, they go to the website, it's going to say out of stock and won't let you sell that. So your inventory is always syncing. It's really, again, that integration of all of those pieces, right? And having, again, like going back to the original point, having all of that data in one piece, right? I send an email marketing campaign out to my 500 customers that I have in my directory. I can now see that out of those 500, 100 actually clicked on it and opened it. And I can see that out of those 100, 25, actually purchased something with the coupon code that I use. And I can see how effective that coupon was, right? And now that data is in there that you can see, my email marketing is effective this way, that way. Same thing with your social media, right? You can integrate with that, with your Google product list. I mean, it goes on and on. There's just all the different touch points that are all integrated into one. So it's really an ecosystem versus just pieces kind of all together. The afterpay component, right? That's another piece that you don't have to worry about. Is someone else? Do I have to deal with someone else to be able to do that, right? That's all in house. So that's all us as well. The banking, right? It's all integrated, all one cohesive unit. And I think that's probably our biggest advantage for why you would use us.
And the pricing, are you able to share the pricing? And then also, within that same question, if I can't afford to buy, like, let's say one of the larger terminal, am I able to rent that from Square versus purchasing it?
So we don't have a rental program. Well, let me go back. So the pricing, right? So with Square, where we started and we continue, you can sign up for Square today for free, right? You don't have to put a credit card down or anything like that. You can download the app for free as well, and you can start taking payments. And it's a per transaction, you know, process, right? So you don't necessarily have to buy anything if you're a small business and you want to just do tap to pay, right? I mean, you can enable tap to pay on the app on your phone and start taking payments without buying any hardware. If you had to buy a chip card reader, I think these are 50, maybe $60, right? So I mean that would be your cost out of pocket. We do offer financing on our hardware, so you can actually make payments on it. And we offer financing through that for like the square stand, the terminal, the stand, or the register. So you can do that through our website, through the hardware. So you can do that. There are some companies out there that do rent like Square hardware for like big festivals, events, things like that. But I don't think they do like one off, like, oh, let me just register, rent one piece. Um, Not that I'm familiar with. It's usually like in bulk, like a Coachella music festival, or or like a First Friday type of event where they need a lot of hardware. So I mean, again, you can start with Square for free. All the other pieces you don't have the customer directory, and the data, like all that piece is already all included. That's not anything extra. The only time you're going to be going extra is like if you want to the payroll, right? There's a fee for that. We do have some different point of sale software. We have like Square for restaurants, and we have Square for retail. That we have a free version and a paid version as well. Like the paid version is going to be more for taking um, um, reservations, table management, things like that. A little more detailed, but that are specific to a restaurant. Anyone can download the Square point of sale. But I mean, you can use it for restaurant business appointments. We have Square for appointments as well for a salon or a service provider who's booking time versus selling a specific product. So it just depends on what you want to use. And again, you can use these, you can not use them. I mean, it's entirely up to you as for what you want to use.
Great. And I'm going to go back to the service industry. Well, not industry, but professional services. Like, let's say if I'm an accountant, we have an accountant on the line right now, but if I'm an accountant and I'm using this, I can use this for billing to like earlier you mentioned, I can set up an invoice to send, or maybe an estimate to send out, so that way my customers know what my rates are and how much a particular service will cost. So that's one thing about using Square for that. So you can just send your invoice to them over email, and then they can pay online, and then the payment comes into your account, right?
Absolutely. And you made a really good point there. You can send that out as an estimate. So I can send that out to, who am I seeing there? I can send an estimate out to Rosetta, right? And she would open it. If it would give all the terms, and if she accepts that, she can accept that, and it would turn into an invoice, right? That she would then pay according to whatever, if we've broken it up into 4 payments, or 50% down now, 50% time of service, right? However you do that. So you can send someone, hey, here's my estimate for the services you're asking for. If it's something you want to move forward with, click accept, and it'll turn it into an invoice, and you can make your payments that way.
And I like that also because it clearly states what services you're offering for the set price. And so it's essentially letting them know this is what I'm going to offer for this amount of time. And so it's right there. So it also helps them with going back to what they originally agreed on. So that's
Yeah,
really
and
good.
you can attach a contract, right, that they have to sign and send back. I mean, however you want to do your business, you're able to do that.
So essentially, you can use Square for any type of business you're running. If you accept cash or card, you can use Square. I can't imagine that there's a business that would not use Square, because I'm just looking at this long list of food and beverage, retail, beauty, services, large businesses, even like franchises. I mean, if they chose to use Square, they can use Square. So from the very small business that's run from the kitchen table, and then you go out to deliver your orders. I mean, those are things that those are businesses that use Square. So from very small to these large franchise companies.
Yeah, I mean, you can start as small as you want with this, or grow as large as you want with this. I mean, the NFL playoffs, right? If you're watching football this weekend, the big game is coming up. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, where the Rams at SoFi Stadium. If you've been to SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, right, the Super Bowl was there. I'm can't remember if it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. There's 1,200, I believe it's 1,200 pieces of Square hardware in that stadium. So we power that stadium. So we powered the Super Bowl, right? So I mean, it's like almost 100,000 people, on the day of the Super Bowl in that stadium, and all buying their food, their merchandise, all using Square. So we're a partner of theirs. So yeah, it could be like you mentioned, someone running their business from the kitchen table, or someone as large as as a stadium, or franchises is another. You mentioned that's another avenue that we ventured out more into, where folks are expanding their business, right? Where it's not just I own a business and I own all the locations. I'm going to start franchising, some of those. So it just, however small or however big you want to be, like we can handle
Very good. I think that's to the extent of my research on
that.
what you all do. I mean, is there anything else that I didn't ask about, Martin, that you want to share with everyone here?
Oh man, we covered quite a bit. I mean, you covered a lot of it. The one other piece that we didn't cover. So we do have, obviously these are most of everything you're going to use a Square is designed and built by Square. So it's our service, right? Um, Afterpay being one of those where we purchase them and we've integrated into them. But we do have an app marketplace where we have partnerships with a lot of different companies, like a QuickBooks or a Zero for accounting software that you can connect to your Square account if you're using those services. That so you can pull all that data into your accounting software. We have there's ticketing options. There's quite a bit. Like we have third-party partnerships with other website builders where you can connect Square as the payment provider. So if we don't have it, we probably have a partner that offers it. And that's through our app marketplace that you would just find through there.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that about the partnership with these accounting companies, because that is such a big deal, is to make sure that you have your books in order with the business. And so I'm glad to hear that you have that partnership with those accounting companies. So very good. I'm just looking at the chat room. There is a question from Daniel. Options for deep res without data or Wi-Fi. Well, you did answer that question about how we could go offline and use the offline service with Square. So thank you for that question, Daniel. If somebody is just starting their business, at what point should they come and see you to set up or to inquire about Square for their business?
Probably, I mean, as soon as you want to do that, right? Again, you can create your Square account for free. I would recommend you start, adding your items in there, right? Creating the things you're going to sell, creating those, whether you're going to do it for in person or online, like setting those up, adding your inventory item levels in there. That way, you're just, it's just maintenance from that point on, instead of having to do it on the go, right? Setting that up from the beginning is going to be super, super important. And we do have, we have support as well, so you can call in and get support, or you can do live chat. You can do email support as well, but phone and chat is readily available. So if you have questions, you can always call.
So my personal pet peeve, when I go to a business and they put on a sign that says, you can use your card, but we're going to charge you a $3 fee. When they do that, I'm like, no, I'm not going to shop here. I will put the things down and leave the building, because I don't like that they charge me an extra fee. What would you recommend to an entrepreneur who wants to take the card, use Square, but then they're like, I don't want to have to pay this additional fee. What should they do to kind of plan so that they don't have to put up a sign? They're going to lose customers like they do that. So what should a small business do if they're looking to cover those fees?
That's a major point of contention right now, right? So you can do that within Square. It's called, a service fee. Um, in some states, it's actually illegal to do that. For some of the card companies, like they have some, like just said, like a Visa, for example, they may have something in their agreement where you know you can't charge over a specific amount or percentage, for the fee. I think for most, it's like you can't charge more than 3%. You have to be really careful with that. Just to, it varies state by state. Um, if if that's something you want to consider, um, I would consider more just raising your prices, right? And knowing again the fees, like when you go into your account, or even on the app, like when you make a sale, like it breaks it down. Like it's $25. Um, this was, you took the pay your card in person. The fee was 25 cents, or let's say it was 50 cents, right? And it'll say fee was 50 cents, deposit 24.50, right? So you'll know that up front, and that's what really knowing that data is going to be vital. Knowing what like your average order size is, right? If let's say it makes it easier, obviously easier if you sell fewer items, right? Let's say you're only selling blankets, right? Your blankets are $100, right? And that's what you sell them at constantly. You know what your order size is, so you know what your processing fee is, right? And if that amount is really cutting in, into your profit that much, right? That's something where you want to, reevaluate and look at either raising your prices, or if you're buying those blankets from someone, getting a better rate on them, right? And figuring that out. That's just a kind of a business part of it, right? Like, okay, maybe I need to go to a different supplier because the amount that's coming out is just not enough, right? But normally the fee isn't going to be something that's going to cut that, right? If because it's on average it's 2.6%, right? If you're not making more than 2.6% profit on your product, right? That's you probably want to, again, you want to look at where you're buying your product from, or raising your prices. Just if you want to charge the fee, that's entirely up to you. Now, when you do that, right? When the fee is assessed, it's on the order total, right? So you're just adding more to it. Yeah, it'll usually offset that, but it comes off the entire total. So it's not like that just goes, it's separate from that. But it's something
So,
that a lot of states are reevaluating right now, whether they're going to ban it or not. So
so
it's kind of a nifty one.
the point that I was making is like you want to include that in your price. So if you have a
Mhm.
$25 item, and you know that there's going to be this service charge when I run my card, so I'm going to make the price $25.50, and I'm not going to tell the customer that you know I'm just going to put that price tag on my item because I know that this is going to cover the processing fee. So uh, and statistics show that when businesses take a card, their business, I mean, their revenue is going to increase, right? I mean, like I said, we're going really to a cashless marketplace here, and so we really want to get people um into using Square because it's going to benefit them in the long run, right? Their sales
Yeah,
they'll see an increase.
yeah, absolutely. Square or their payment processor of choice. Absolutely, that's definitely one of the benefits you'll see. Um, Having been now doing this small business stuff for, man, it's been over 10 years now. I shop small as much as possible, right? And my wife and my kids and like my family, they see what I do, so they she I mean, we have there's an endless amount of earrings that she could purchase from jewelry makers. We were at the Native Art Market there in Scottsdale over the weekend, and she picked up 2 new pair. But we don't rarely carry cash, right? So um, you really do limit yourself. Now, again, with Square, you can take cash, right? We don't charge you for that. So if someone wants to purchase with cash, you say great. You put up the point of sale, you put in the amount, it'll calculate how much change you need to give them back, or and more importantly, they'll get a receipt automatically, right? So you can take that cash, no problem. That's all a part of your business, right? We want you to see all of that. So then when you look at your data, you're saying, oh, I have 25% of my sales are coming via cash, the other 75 are coming via card, right? So you'll be able to see that, and then your amount is all in there. Um, we did a program with the city of Los Angeles where they were really wanting to get street vendors um, taking cards, right? And a lot of them were cash only. Um, and what a big side effect of that they were seeing was they were getting robbed because there's a sign, right? Cash only. So what do you have on you? Cash, right? And if I steal that and get away, that money's gone. There's no filing a claim with the bank. That money is absolutely gone. But with your card payments, like you mentioned earlier, you take that payment, that deposit's going into an account, that money's not available to take, right? Now, again, a percentage of your sales can still be cash, but if I show up to that cart and I've got $10 cash on me, that's the most they're going to get out of me, right? If they're cash only. I want to order 25, 40, $50 worth of food for the whole family, right? That $10 isn't going to go very far to feed a family of five. So you're going to see that order size going to be a lot larger. Oh, let's get sodas, let's get chips. You definitely we would see their average order size was definitely larger than when someone was paying with a card versus someone paying with cash, because again, cash, it's not going to go away. It's still around. It's still folks are still using it, just not as much and in larger amounts. They're going to have, oh, I've got a $20 in my pocket or 5 or 10, like just something like that. But for your larger orders, everyone's going to use a debit or a credit card of some sort. So definitely that advantage to it, right? Again, not missing any sale. I can take your cash, I can take your card, I can do a QR code. You can buy it on my website. I'm not going to miss your sale. You're going to be able to pay me however you want. Buy now, pay later. Whatever it's going to take.
Very good. Thank you. So we're going to go to some of the questions that are in the chat window. So question from Daniel, is there a way to keep track of supplies, like how much it costs to make a product? Do you want to answer that question there, Martin?
Absolutely. So within your point of sale, when you're adding your items, I believe this is on the square for retail option. You can actually put in like what your cost of goods are. So then it'll start calculating a cost of goods report for you. Like so when you're selling it and you're seeing, you're selling this item and your actual profit on these items is this much, right? And you have to input that information, but that is an option in there.
All right. The next question is from Delphina. Delphina is actually a member of our incubator alumni program. She asks, in the 1099K, the processing fee is included or excluded? I think she's asking, is the 1099K processing fee excluded or included on the form?
I'm not sure what you mean, the fee. We don't charge anything for some. We'll give you a 1099K at a certain point. There's no fee for that, but you will have a report of your fees, so you'll know obviously what all your fees are. So I mean, and I haven't seen a 1099K in a while, so I'm trying to remember what it looks like. But obviously, yeah, you'll know what all of your fees are. There's a fee report in there, and that's what we'll show on the 1099K, like what obviously what all you sold and your fees. And again, I think Kristine, we had talked once before, like and it is a cost of doing business, so that is something you can use. You can write up on your taxes, right? The fees that you pay for a credit card processing, that's an option you can include in your items. Is the processing fee. So it's not like it's just completely a loss. It's something you can include as a part of doing business, right? And that's, I think, the mindset. When you guys do these things, it's really that mindset shift of you are a business, right? There are some things that you have to do. There are some costs to doing business, right? That you want to be aware of, and we want to make you fully aware of those. We want to be transparent with that. We don't want to hide it, right? But to make you as successful as you can be.
So Delphina also has this, I guess it's the gross
Gotcha.
minus.
So yes, the answer would be yes, Delphina. Thank you for clarifying that.
All right. And thank you for your comment, Haley. All right. So we're going to go ahead and open this part of this fireside chat to any questions, any more questions that you have. You can ask the question, raise your hand and ask the question, or you can ask your question in the chat window.
Before we do, I just added a help article to the 1099K that was just updated here in January. Um, the site there is sellercommunity.com. That's our like our main help center, right? So that's where we would go to get support. That's where all of our our frequently asked questions are, our guides to getting started. We also, that's where you can ask questions. We also post a lot of information there. Like we'll do our own webinars. I know, like probably one of the most popular ones that we did towards the end of the year was payroll, right? And because a lot of folks switch payroll providers like at the beginning of the year to start over fresh. So we had done that. We'll do stuff on social media or on specific products. Like so, if that's where you're going to find the most information, is sellercommunity.com. Again, that's all linked to your Square account. So if you go to support, it's going to take you there. But that would be like a great resource for everybody. Delphina asked, therefore, we need to do a journal entry to book Square. I mean, you wouldn't have to journal that. That's already automatic. So there's a report. I mean, those fees are already in there, and there's an actual in your dashboard. There's a fee report that you can see daily. You can export it. However long you can see that report. That's already all in there for you. You're not something you have to manually track. It's in the app. It's in the dashboard. That's all there for you.
And again, when you work with partner, like you said, QuickBooks or the other accounting companies at Xero, that you can merge that information that automatically feeds into the accounting system, right?
Yeah. Once you connect those, there's through our app marketplace, you'll be able to connect those, and you'll decide like what information you want to do that.
And Daniel
asked a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Damon, it's not 2.9%. So it's 2.6% plus 10 cents per transaction for in-person payments. So it depends on how you're taking that payment. Damon is correct on the 2.9 plus 30 cents. That's going to be for online payments. So something we didn't discuss, the different ways you take payments, right? So there's a card present. So this is the way the banks, the credit card companies look at a transaction, right? Number one is a card present. I give you a card, you swipe it, dip it, tap it, right? That card is present. It's physically there, right? That's 2.6% plus 10 cents per transaction. So on that $2 coffee, that's going to come out to roughly about 15 cents, right? For that. Now, if you have a Square website and you're taking payments online, right? That payment is technically not, the card is not present because you're not physically taking that card. So there's that higher rate because there's a higher risk of that. Now, a real card not present transaction would be, somebody calling you saying, "Hey, I want to purchase this. I have a demo website. It's like a bike shop. So I want to buy this bicycle from you. Can I pay for you right now?" Great. Yeah. How do you want to do that? Let me just read off my card number to you. And you go into the point of sale, and you can do this. You can enter in, my card number is 12345. You can enter that card number. That is a card not present. That's a manual transaction, right? That's you just manually punching in the card. That's the worst way to take a payment, right? You can do that as a business. You can decide to do that, but that is the worst way to take a payment. Higher risk of fraud and a higher fee. That's 3.5%. Right. So if you manually just enter in that card information, you're paying, almost 2% higher for doing that. Now, e-commerce, we talked about it, right? It's massive. That's a card not present transaction, and it's technically being manually entered in there. And so there had to be some wiggle room there, right? They didn't want to charge that higher rate for that because at least on a website, you're putting in address, phone number, email. You can ask for the 3-digit code on the back, right? It's a little more detailed for that. So that's why there's those 3 rates. There's the card present. Again, that's going to be the lowest, right? Physically handling that card. In the middle is that just keying in a card number manually. Worst way to do it, I would advise don't do it that way. Send an invoice, right? Send a checkout link. Send them to your website. Do that versus manually keying it in there. And then there's e-commerce, which is going to be that 2.9%, that little bit higher rate, but at least it's not that massive 3.5% where it's taking quite a bit of your profit margin. Okay, so yeah,
taken.
Damon knows because he's online. Perfect. We can take any card, any international card, Visa, Mastercard, Discover, Amex. I mean, as long as it's one of those, I mean, there's not going to be a problem with that.
And then the international fee or the fee charged by the bank is what fee the customer will see. So it doesn't really matter. They get charged a fee for international transactions on their end.
Right. We wouldn't charge a separate international transaction. Their card would, would do that. Like I have a card. I went overseas last year, and I would specifically use a card that didn't have any international fees on it. Right. So I paid that with that card everywhere because I knew there wasn't going to be a fee attached to that. So it just depends on the card as well.
Oh, good. That's good to know. Well, great. Do we have any other questions? Raquel has a question. Is there a different percentage for using QR codes to pay?
There is not. So a QR code will essentially be an online payment. So when you do the QR code, well, you can do this. You can do a QR code two ways. Is anyone familiar with Cash App? If you're not familiar with Cash App, it's a peer-to-peer money transfer, similar to a Venmo, where you can, or a Zelle, right? So you can do that. That's a company that was created within Square several years ago. I think 2011 they launched, and it's you can get a Visa debit card. So within Square point of sale, you can pay with Cash App, and then you can submit. It'll pull up a QR code. I can open up my Cash App, scan the QR code, and pay. That's just the 2.6% because it's the Cash App. That's our system. Or you can do just a standard QR code. Me as a business would scan that with my phone, right, and would pull it up. And how am I paying on my phone? I'm paying online. So that would be that 2.9% because it's an online payment.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, do we have any other questions? A lot of good questions. Thank you for asking those questions in the meeting chat room. Well, good. Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us today, Martin. It's great to hear all about the different things that Square is doing. I mean, from when I first started using Square with my mom, like 10 years ago, oh my gosh, you guys have grown and offer so many great services and different ways to help small business owners to just really grow their business. So thank you.
No problem. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's helping these businesses grow, and whether that's grow to, hire one new person, or just to buy yourself, an awesome vacation, or to franchise your business. I mean, whatever success means to you, we're here to help you.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this back over to Raquel so she can wrap us up today. Thank you everyone for participating. It's good to have you all here. The attendance is great, and thank you again for asking all those questions.
So just one last announcement. If you missed any part of Kristine and Martin's conversation today, please don't worry. We have been recording this whole time. We will complete the final edits very soon and have them on our YouTube channel as soon as we can. We typically post about it, or I can send out an email to everybody who's registered here if you'd like to see or get the link to the full recording that once we get it up on the YouTube channel. So just send me a quick message and let me know. And if it's really popular, I'll definitely send that out. Thank you so much, Kristine, for facilitating this. And Martin, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this great information. I know we do have an existing Square workshop on our YouTube channel, but I believe you did share a lot of really great and new information. So I'm not sure how far back, if you remember, Martin, our last workshop with you was, but we will have
I think it was the early COVID days.
Probably, I think so. Yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot more information that we've shared in this session here. So Thank you so much for being here. I know we had to reschedule a couple of times, but we did it.
One last thing I do want to add, Raquel, is we do still have a box of Square readers there at the eShip Hub, right?
You do, yes. If you are interested in using a Square Reader for your business, you can definitely stop by here and visit us. I'm here today and through the rest of the week. Sometimes we have a few of my other colleagues and our business coaches here, but there should definitely be someone here Monday to Friday, and let us know if you're interested in setting up a Square Reader with yourself, and then we'll get that set up with you. Oh, and then of course that's due to Martin. Thanks for Martin's collaboration and partnership with us. We're able to provide these Square Readers for our business owners and entrepreneurs here on the res on both Navajo and Hopi.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Martin.
Yeah, use them, folks. They're there for you.
Thank you. All right. It doesn't look like there's any more information. I'm sorry, questions. So we will log off for today. If anyone has any questions outside the presentation, feel free to reach out.